Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be talking about Valorstones and about crests, basically just to talk a little bit more about how you can get them, soft caps, hard caps, and the best ways to farm some of the currencies and basically how the scaling works, because I think a lot of players are going to find the upgrade system and everything to be a little bit complex and they need a bit of help. So yeah. So let's start with the currency you can actually farm, and that is Valorstones. So Valorstones drop from pretty much everything. Valorstones will drop from open world events, quests, Mythic Plus, raid bosses, delves, basically absolutely any bit of content that you do will drop Valorstones. The only thing that won't drop Valorstones is redoing certain quests, because these basically will drop resonance crystals rather, but rares can drop Valorstones, world quests drop Valorstones, theater troops drop Valorstones, awakening the machine event will drop Valorstones. Lots of things can drop Valorstones. Now world quests don't guarantee Valorstone drops. They have to indicate that they're dropping Valorstones, like here for example, but they will still give you a pretty good chunk, and you can obviously start to rack these up. There are a couple methods that players have been using to obtain Valorstones. One of them is Lightbringer satchels, which is one of the nicer ways to obtain Valorstones, because you can kind of farm them a bit by doing events in, the Hellowfall area. The other way is snuffling, and this is by exchanging your wax with the vendor inside the Ring of Deeps. So in the Ring of Deeps, if you go right into the Ring of Deeps, there is the little kobold in this little room here, and basically she will exchange you a whole bunch of rewards and you can get Valorstones from there. It has been nerfed by Blizzard, but it's was one of the better ways. It's now capped per day, but realistically you'll get a lot of Valorstones just kind of playing the game. One thing I will say is you can get a lot of Valorstones now that we're starting to kind of outgear it from doing heroics. So heroic dungeons and heroic bosses drop Valorstones, of course, but because of the speed at which you can complete these heroic dungeons, and because of the fact that you're going to be very, very soon outgearing them by quite some way, spamming heroics could be one of the better ways to obtain Valorstones. You will also get a good chunk of Valorstones from your initial quests. So once you ding level 80, each class will get a whole bunch of upgrade quests to be introduced to the upgrade systems, and you will get a chunk of Valorstones from there. And you can get Valorstones from Renown, which is pretty cool. So that's kind of it really when it comes to Valorstones. It's not a currency, it's a currency you'll find that in the beginning you'll want a lot of, because you're using them pretty much as you get them to upgrade your gear, especially your champion, your veteran gear. But it's a piece of gear or currency that you'll find you'll very quickly start to hit cap on as your gear starts to slow down, because you're needing to find more progression methods or slower progression methods, and also as you reach your cap, which is in terms of crests, which we'll talk about now. So crests are a completely different story. Crests are not necessarily capped per se, but crests intrinsically are a lot harder to come by due to the fact that, firstly, lower tiers of crests are not necessarily capped, but higher tiers of crests are definitely capped and also require a lot more effort and also just are more difficult to obtain. So it just generally makes the flow of them a little bit slower. There are 4 tiers of crest. So you get weathered crests, okay, which are your basic, your lowest level. You get ruined, which is your second. You get, carved, which is your second. Then you get ruined, which is your third tier. And then you get gilded, which is your fourth and final tier. Now, all these crests can be farmed in different ways, but weathered crests can be obtained from pretty much anything. World quests, outdoor treasures, delves, tiers 1 to 5, heroic difficulty dungeons, that we saw already earlier, and then LFR raid. So pretty standard stuff that you can do, nothing too crazy. These you'll get so many of that it's really just not really worth it to like overtly farm them. Like you can even get some from your renowned tracks, which is cool. Then you get carved Harbinger crests. These again also pop up from weekly world events. So things like the troop, things like Awakening the Machine, things like your pinnacle cache chests, your weekly chests, etc. These will also drop from world bosses. These will also drop from delves that are tier 6 to 7, mythic difficulty dungeons, mythic plus dungeons, and then of course normal difficulty raid bosses, which you'll have to pug for. So that's how you get carved Harbinger crests. Then of course you get ruined Harbinger crests, which is the 3rd highest tier. These drop from mythic plus. These will drop from heroic difficulty bosses, and these will drop from delves. And then finally you get Gilded Harbinger crests, which are the highest tier of crest, and these will drop from mythic plus 9 and up, and from the mythic difficulty raid bosses only. These will not drop from any other content. So Gilded crests only drop from dungeons mythic plus and higher, and only, or mythic plus 9 and higher, and only drop from raids. There's no other way to get Gilded crests, and yeah, pretty obvious, like pretty obviously they are quite the soft cap. And like I say, we'll talk about the cap and everything, but the crests are definitely going to be your cap more than anything else. So as you can see, like especially when upgrading gear, you use flight stones and crests. Now your crests, for me, naturally cap out a lot faster than your flight stones do, and your gear will naturally start to use more and more crests as you try to get it to higher levels. Whereas with flight stones, you do use more, but generally speaking, you kind of make like a natural progression because you're earning so many from so many different sources, and because your gear gain will slow down, you will start to accrue it a lot more. So obviously flight stones and crests are important. Crests are definitely more of a soft cap. You can work down with crests, so you are able to transmute and create lower tiers of crests overall, but of course the problem with this is you can't upgrade up. So you can never convert crests to a tier up, but you can always convert crests to a tier down. So before you do that, you may want to obviously make sure that you're happy with that decision. So yeah, but that's really it for me. Honestly speaking, I think it's great that we have all these systems, but I think it's very confusing sometimes for players. But I think ultimately there's a lot of benefit to a lot of these systems, and I think players will enjoy a lot of them. But I think, ultimately for me, definitely crests and flight stones, valor stones, you will naturally accrue more of. So don't. Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be talking about